Hello, everyone, and welcome to this short video series on strategies for online discussion forums. My name is Paul Bepler, and I'm with my colleague Bill Brzaitis, and we're from the Center for Educational Innovation. And this is a short series to help us discuss and think about the sort of underrated asynchronous discussion forum. Let's begin with this helpful graph from Daniel Stanford that contrasts low bandwidth and low immediacy, and note where we find the discussion board, right here in the green quadrant. So we can think of the discussion board as being particularly flexible because it is known by a lot of people. Most people are familiar with what a discussion forum is. It's very flexible, and it can be particularly helpful if you choose a smart strategy and have a strong moderating strategy as well. The nice thing about a discussion forum too is that you know it takes less bandwidth, and that's particularly critical when you don't know whether or not your students will be able to access all of your content. So it's one of several ways that you can communicate with your students, and it's a very valuable way.
Well, hi, everybody. We're going to be talking about three different basic discussion formats, and we're going to be contrasting these with a few more complex uses of discussion forums in our next video. So the first discussion format that we'll talk about is the simple post and respond. This is something I'm sure that you're all familiar with. You have a question that's seated by either a teacher or perhaps another student. It's put in the forum, and then other students respond to it. And as you can see by the reply boxes at the bottom of this graphic, students can be encouraged to reply to each other so that you're, in a sense, creating an exchange, an engagement among students and their ideas. And I think that's important to remember. Even though there is lower immediacy with online discussion forums, that doesn't mean that they're not necessarily engaging. If you structure them in such a way that students have to reply to authentic questions, things that are meaningful to them, and interact with each other, you can create a good deal of social presence in a course through asynchronous means. So we're always advising people to try to figure out ways to encourage students to interact with each other and their ideas. So for the next one, if you go forward, Paul. Oh, sorry, quote analysis. This is a format that's actually pretty popular among the students that I've used it with, and it's really good for disciplines in which students engage challenging readings directly. So in this case, you would pick a subset of students, the first 4, perhaps, maybe 5 students, to actually cite a quotation from a reading and then explicate it. Talk about why they chose this particular quotation. Is it inspiring, interesting, challenging? Did it confuse them? Did it open up other ideas in the course? And then students would write about that, post it to the discussion forum, and the rest of the students would then engage with those quotations. So in a sense, what you're doing is you're having students choose the focus for your discussion topics. Now, when I've done this, I've also asked students to post a question at the end of their quote analysis, and those can be useful too for other students to respond to as a way of kicking off the particular discussion. And finally, we have a peer review, and this is a format that I'm sure is familiar to many of you who teach writing intensive courses in a face-to-face environment. In the online environment, it would be very similar. You would break students into groups of 2 or perhaps 4, have them comment on each other's writing, and exchange those comments. Now, you could do this completely asynchronously, where students would just read each other's comments, or you may actually encourage them to have some kind of a synchronous meeting, either through Zoom or Google Hangout, for example, to talk about their comments and their writing. Like any peer review, you need to be very careful about how you're structuring this, and making it clear to students what their responsibilities are, what the deadlines are, and so forth. For those of you who are interested in this and who would like more resources, the University of Minnesota's Writing Center has peer-reviewed resources that are very good, so you can check them out online. Okay, everyone, well, that's enough for this video. We will be turning our attention to two other formats for engaging students asynchronously that are a bit more involved than these. So hopefully we'll see you in the next video.